If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you know that we have been sponsored by Fuji Sports for quite some time now. Whether you're looking for apparel, equipment, bags, or accessories, Fuji Sports has got it covered. Go to fujisports.com to see the latest selection of everything you need for your jiu-jitsu, judo, or MMA journey. That's fujisports.com. Let me take a minute to tell you about RŌL TV. If you're looking to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level and supplement your BJJ education, then RŌL TV has you covered. RŌLAcademy.tv has over 1,500 videos covering individual techniques, positions, and concepts, including seminars and workshops with top-level competitors and instructors like Chris Wojcik, Robert Drysdale, Aaron Hurley, Emily Kwok, and more. Whether you are a beginner or a more advanced student, RŌL TV is the online platform that can take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you listen. This helps us bring you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. In this conversation, Thomas's guest shares his journey from the culinary world to becoming a jiu-jitsu practitioner and instructor. He discusses the balance between luck and dedication in achieving success, the importance of small details in training, and the need for standards in the jiu-jitsu community. They discuss people's tendency to dream without action, the transformative power of jiu-jitsu and personal growth, and his excitement about opening a new 10th Planet Academy in Hawaii. Here's the RŌL Radio with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Eric Ramey of 10th Planet, former student of Rickson and Kron Gracie, content creator at BJJ Fanatics, and a successful entrepreneur, Joshua Yu.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
Man, we are live. Josh, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here, and more importantly, I did not realize how early it is on the other side of the world where you find yourself in today. So even more so, I do appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm actually in Taiwan right now. I used to own 2 restaurants in Los Angeles and sold them. I'm going to be opening a 10th Planet in Honolulu. And before I did that, I was like, I need rest. Working in the restaurant is really hard. So in January, I came out to Taiwan, and it's until June 8th, I'm officially leaving Taiwan and going to Hawaii to open up a 10th Planet. And so, yeah.
So I'm glad to catch you before this life pivoting moment.
It is, yes, my first gym that's going to be mine ever. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's new. It's exciting. I'm really excited to do. I love teaching. And it's going to be the first 10th Planet in Hawaii, which it's kind of crazy. I'll tell you about the story later about how that happened. But yeah.
There's a lot of new happening in your life right now.
Yes.
I assume this is a good thing.
It's an absolutely wonderful thing. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. It's just crazy. My wife is excited too to go to it. So yeah.
Well, we got to dig into some of these things. But as I was doing a little bit of research and reading back on you, and the conclusion I came down to is that you feed people and then you beat them up. I mean, that's kind of.
Wait, you gotta add one more thing. I'm a Taylor Swift fan, so I let people know that I'm a Taylor Swift fan, and I still beat them up.
But jokes aside, but I feel like there was a lot of passion associated with everything you do, not only through the culinary routes, developing and really artsmanship and craftsmanship with food, but also with jiu-jitsu. Do you see a lot of similarities between those two? And I don't mean it as a business, but more and more as an artship. Do you see a lot of similarities between those two?
Yes and no. So there's different types of way you work at a restaurant. There's a line where you're just a robot and you're just busting out food. And then there is the art to actually creating food and making food taste delicious and understanding food. And that actually, in my genuine opinion, helped my jiu-jitsu, because when you understand food, you can reverse engineer it and you can taste it in your head. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm going to prepare a dish in my head and I'll be like, okay, if I add this, I expect it to taste like that because I know how to reverse engineer it. Well, when I apply that to jiu-jitsu, especially now, it's the same thing. It's not like why does an armbar work? You have to pull the arm, you have to outstretch your arm, you have to make it fully extended, and then you break the elbow going up. Make sure the thumb is pointed up. But how do you get there? What's the reason why? And when you reverse engineer things, you understand the move a lot better. And I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's how it affected me.
No, this is very fascinating to me. And the more I was reading about you, the more I kept thinking about this. And one of the things that really kept coming back in my mind is what you are describing right now, this ability to visualize tasting as similarly we would be doing in jiu-jitsu, visualizing what the outcome might be from the actions that we are taking without doing them. And I think that's the craftsmanship that many refer to, having the ability of putting yourself in space, in a sense, where you can see it before it happens. And I'll tell you, and like, forgive my just stupidity and being naive here, but
No, not at all.
I wondered so many times going to restaurant and how do chefs have this visualization, this space in their mind where they can put ingredients together and know how it's going to taste virtually without tasting. I would envision that you can taste every single dish. I mean, that's physically impossible, right? So I always was fascinating about that part. How is this unfold in your mind?
Let me tell you a story. My restaurant was called Pisces Poke and Ramen. Yelp does a top 100 restaurants in USA every year. For the year 2020, once you get on the list once, you can never go back on again. But the year 2020, my restaurant got number 2 in the whole country. Pisces Poke and Ramen 2020. And one of the dishes I created was a truffle salmon. And how did I create that? Well, I tasted in my head, salmon's going to be very oily, and I know it goes good with truffle, but it needs an acidity that'll cut that oil. So I'm tasting that in my head. So I start off with truffle and salmon. And then I get lemon, lime, try different things, and then I taste it. I'm like, okay, this needs salt. Okay, this needs this needs that. And I try this, and I lay out 10 dishes, try everything. This doesn't work, that works, this works. Put it away, narrow it down until it's absolutely perfect, my taste buds. If it's a 7 out of 10, I won't serve it. If it's an 8 out of 10, I won't serve it. It has to be perfect. And that's where you try different ingredients and you just play with it and you just combine it together. If that makes, that's how I did it. So, yeah.
So is that how you see jiu-jitsu? Is this how you use it? Do you utilize the same mental space, if you will, to do the analytics of what it might be happening when you're exploring this?
So I'm not sure if you know about my BJJ Fanatics videos. Though I have 2 videos out, and those are very specific new moves that I developed, I created, that you won't see anywhere. I have, I believe, 12 submissions while I'm inside your triangle. So you put me in a triangle and I'm going to submit you with 12 submissions. I have, my second video is, it's a toe fold, not a toe hold. It's a new creation. And the reason why I was able to create it was because I reverse engineered what are the problems with the triangle? What are the problems with the toe hold? And when you understand where these problems are, you fix it. And instead of my teacher telling me that, oh, that won't work, that move doesn't work, I refuse to believe that. And I'm like, I'll test it. I'll play with it. I'll try this. I'll try that. And I'll borrow my uke partners. And can I try this on you? And I'll picture it in my head. This has to work. Like, I totally see this. This has to work. And when you try it over and over again, you fine detail it till it becomes perfect. And that's how I created those moves.
Is that kind of mindset necessary to be successful from and I want to be careful how I'm using success here, but I'm more referring to the progression, evolution of our own jiu-jitsu. I don't mean necessarily winning tournaments or winning matches or sparring sessions, but there's a learning curve, being curious, being vulnerable. Because look, you talk about triangle and how you solve that problem. That also, in my visualization, means that you had to be in that triangle probably hundreds of times
Yes.
in order to feel it and guide it and so on, right? I mean,
Yes.
does that mean that we need that kind of mindset to be successful from a learning perspective?
So I think that varies on where you are in your jiu-jitsu stage. Whether you're just starting, whether you're intermediate, whether you're advanced, whether you're expert, whether you're young, whether you're old, and just where your passion is with that. There are some people that are just happy just going into jiu-jitsu, messing around and having fun, and that's the end of the day. There's other people that want to advance more and just get better. There's other people that want to go for the competition. It just depends on that. And for me personally, when I teach, I love finding new things. It's just, not just finding new things, but actually hitting it on my sparring partners or in competition. Those are just, it's so much fun and it drives passion. So whether that actually turns into that it's necessary or not, I just believe it's on the person. Actually, what's more important than any of that is learning the foundation, understanding how it is properly done. And what I mean by that is there's so many schools I go to where they teach it incorrectly. Let's say it's just a simple shrimp. Well, people raise their arms all the way up and then go down with the shrimp. And it's just like, I want to bite my teeth. Like, what are you doing? How are you teaching that? Because you're like giving up the high mount if you do that. And that's what I mean is that's more important. Understanding proper techniques first. And then once you understand how to do it properly, then go ahead and to explore and have fun with other things and see if it works or not. And
do you feel that that's difficult for students, having that patience of learning the core, learning the mobility, understanding how balance works, how connections work, instead of look, like it's not a secret that we pick up our phone and there is gazillion of things that are flashy and they are shiny objects and they get our attention, and it's so easy to get distracted with the non-fundamental things, especially when we are at the very beginning and we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's right or what's wrong. Do you feel that's a difficult task for the student?
I believe it's 75% teacher, 25% student. And what I mean by that is you have to have a good teacher. And if the teacher is bad, then no matter how dedicated or smart or untalented or talented your student is, if your teacher's not good, then you're going to be stuck with not good. If you have a really good teacher, then that comes with that 75% part. Then the other 25% is, face it, how fast do you learn? How fast do you not learn? It depends. Everyone learns differently. Hands-on, watching, writing on notebooks. Do you actually study? Do you put the time into it? Some people just don't get it at all, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's just not meant for them, maybe. And that's the other 25%. But predominantly, it's the teacher, in my opinion.
Yeah, and as I'm listening to you, I would believe that there is this domino effect, almost like this phrase, what came first, chicken or an egg? Because yes, we do need phenomenal instructors in order for the students to get better, but we also got to acknowledge that those students at some point might be becoming instructors, and if they had better instructions, then it's kind of a domino effect of everything, right?
Yes, I've seen that, yes.
And it really doesn't take a lot for this to derail in a situation like, why are we doing this? You know, and we that selection of where you train and who you train with is so important.
It is very important, I believe.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I guess let's go into where I trained first. I don't know if you know anything about my history, but the first 9 years I trained with Rickson and Kron Gracie. 9 years with them. The very first person I met was James Driscoll.
Which we just had on the show.
Yeah. I love James. James is one of my favorite training partners. He's amazing. I worked out at the gym a lot, and I got bored, and I was a sushi chef at the time, and right in front of me is Rickson's Academy on Wilshire, and I didn't really know what jiu-jitsu was. For me, it was just a martial arts, not knowing what it was. And so I walk in, and James is there, and I ask how much is the class, and he says it's like 225, I believe, 200, something like that. And I look at him like he's crazy. I was like, what? Like, I pay $30 at 24-Hour Fitness. There's no way in hell I'm gonna pay $200. And granted, this was 15 years ago, and he's like, well, first class is free. You want to try it? And I'm like, all right, screw it, whatever, I'll try it. So they give me a gi, and we warm up for 15 minutes, and I'm already sweating. I'm sweating balls. And they pair us up, and there's like 40 people in Kron's class, James's class. And I pair up with Alex. I remember him to this day. He's a good friend of mine still. And we pair up, and he lies down on the ground, and he opens his legs. And he says, come here. And I look at him like, you want me to go? And I don't know what jiu-jitsu is. Like, I have no idea.
All right, so I'm making an assumption that you are clueless as far as what this thing is.
Clueless. So I'm looking around 40 other dudes. There's some missionary position, the sex position, missionary, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But there's this peer pressure. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. All right. So I enter his legs, and he wraps his legs around me. He puts his hand on my collar, and puts my hand on my other collar, and I'm fighting, really fighting to get out. And then I wake up.
Did you go out?
I went out. I woke up, and then Kron is yelling at me, cussing me. Why the fuck didn't you tap? And he's like lifting my legs up, and I look at Kron, and I'm like, I felt pressure, but I mean, I thought I could get out. And Kron's like, you feel pressure, you fucking tap. And I was just like, I love this. Oh my God, I'm signing up now. End of story. I got put out. It was the best thing ever, and never looked back.
Wait, so I have like gazillion questions right now, because first things first, you don't know what jiu-jitsu is. What year is this? Is this 2010?
This was 15 years ago, so 2010, yeah.
Okay, so just to frame the timeline.
It might be 2009. It might be 2009.
Okay.
15 or 16 years ago, so yes.
So about 15 years ago, which puts us in a timeline, from a timeline perspective, you are with Kron at Rickson's place, surrounded probably by the best of the best of the best, not knowing what jiu-jitsu is, period.
Not knowing.
Do you know what MMA is? Have you seen UFC?
I saw UFC, but I'm a sushi chef. He works 5-6 days a week, 15, 14 hours a day. I don't really have time to watch UFC. And so for me,
I got to ask you a very important question. Do you know who you are surrounded by?
At the time.
At that time?
Oh, no. I had no idea. Absolutely no idea.
There was zero comprehension that you are surrounded by the best of the best in the business.
None.
And there is not much better than this.
Nope, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I do remember my buddy, I think it was my first class there, or second class there. His name is Angelo. James is one of James's best friends. And he said, I am so lucky that I am attending this class because other jiu-jitsu schools will have a blue belt teaching. And I remember him telling me that 15 years ago. And to this day, I've learned so much fundamentals correctly from Kron, from James, from Rickson, from all the other wonderful teachers there. And yeah.
So when this happens, you go out, Kron is waking you up, and there is clearly a lot of emotions happening on both sides.
I just woke up. I had no idea where I was. I was like, what's going on? Where am I? And then it slowly comes back. Oh.
I think what's fascinating about this story is the fact that 99% of people in your circumstances, even today, would leave and they would say, screw this business. First of
Oh,
all,
really?
I don't know what's going on. 2, they're putting me in some kind of sex positions. 3, they put me unconscious. And then
Yep.
4, I got instructor yelling at me that I
Yeah,
didn't
me.
tap, and I don't even know what tapping is.
Yeah.
I mean, as a consequence of all of this, I would visualize that many people would say, screw this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of here. And your response is complete opposite. You are like,
It was.
dude,
Wow.
I am hooked.
This is wow. Because like how can a hand going in my collar and another hand going in my other collar without choking me, like
Right.
around my neck,
Right.
put me to sleep? Like that concept was just it was mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And it made me realize that this is actually something that works. It's not, and I don't want to put other martial arts down, but it's not like me punching the air and kicking the air 1,000 times and then expect me to do it in real life.
Look, like we are respectful of other arts, but like, look, I even have Chris Howder and others, coming to this show and saying like, look, I was doing other things. I was doing all these traditional martial arts, and I thought I was good at it. And then like a guy who trains for 6 months mops the floor with me. And like, so there is something tangible to say about the practicality of jiu-jitsu, especially, I'm not even talking about today. I'm talking about 15 or 20 or 25 years ago, when there was a little bit more eye-opening. I mean, we know today there is a certain popularity that's associated with jiu-jitsu. I don't know if I would call it mainstream yet, but it definitely is known, right? 15 years ago, it wasn't as known. And
it wasn't as known.
Yeah, especially, in some, like, there was a certain level of, I would say, not secrecy, but like taboo associated with this, right? Like it wasn't as popular. It wasn't as big.
I heard rumors that if you're a black belt, you have to get licensed, and then if you hurt someone, you might get, attempted murder back then. This was 15 years ago, and it was just like, huh? So, yeah. Versus what it is now, people understand choking someone. It's not necessarily me trying to kill them.
Yeah.
It's me putting them unconscious, like that guy in the subway. I don't know if you remember, but he protected someone by putting him unconscious. But then he went to court. He went to court because they said that it was attempted murder or something like that.
Yeah.
But then he said it was not guilty, and thank goodness it was not guilty because he actually was using jiu-jitsu to protect someone. And so,
well, look, like we can derail this whole conversation of the police officers who are unable to, put chokes on whoever they are arresting because it's considered as a life-threatening event, and yet, I don't even start me on this because that's
separate
topic.
We can totally go into that.
No.
Well, I'll tell you other story later than that. Real love.
So you were totally fascinated with what is happening to your body during that time. Are you hooked? Are you like, I don't care how much this costs.
Oh, yeah,
I'm doing this.
No. Yeah, 5 days a week. 5 days a week. I was so sore. Oh my God, I was so sore. And you got to understand, I worked out at the gym. I was very strong, and I was so sore.
So wait a minute, because all these things are just mind-blowing to me. So from one moment you say, hey, I can work out for $30. I'm not paying $225 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But then you go out and you're like, oh no, how much do you want? I'm paying.
Yes,
like I'm done.
Paying. I even had to pay for a gi. It wasn't like a gi was free. It was another extra $100-something to pay for it. So it was expensive to sign up. It really was expensive to sign up.
These chokes are the best marketing tool for jiu-jitsu, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, because it also works. Think about it. If just recently there was that 13-year-old girl that defended herself against a dude. She broke his ankle, right?
Yep.
And that's what jiu-jitsu is. It doesn't matter how big, strong, how long your arm reaches. If you have technique and you go against someone that doesn't have technique, you're gonna predominantly win. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. And that's something that I find fascinating. It's the most beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu. When I talk to my students, when I talk to people that ask me what I do, this is how I promote it and let them know. And I promote their kids to do this because you build that self-confidence. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to actually survive if anything ever does happen, whether it's running away if you have to, or if you're forced to fight, then protect yourself and win that fight.
Yeah, that's important, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
So you meet James, you meet Kron, you meet Rickson.
I'll tell you, I'll name some people who you're gonna love.
Name drop. Let's go.
James Driscoll, Nate Diaz, Keith Florian, Scott Epstein, of course Eddie Bravo. But let's start with, let me just tell you a story. So when I was a blue belt in Kron Gracie, and this is when Kron moved from Wilshire to Culver City, and he had this huge gym there, and I'm just a blue belt, and I'm not patting myself on the shoulder, but honestly, I was pretty good at triangle escaping as a blue belt. And Nate Diaz happens to walk in with his brother Nick for the first time ever.
What year is this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a blue belt, so it took me about 3.5 years to get my blue belt. So at least 3.5 years in, so 2013, 2014. And so, yeah. And Nate Diaz walks in with Nick, and I'm starstruck. And again, there's like 40, 50 dudes in. And Kron, the way he does fighting, like, sparring, there's no timer, 5-minute timer. He just calls it. So sometimes fights can last 5 minutes to 15 minutes to 20 minutes. He just calls it whenever he feels like it. And my very first fight with Nate, I happened to pair up with him that day. And I just met him, and I'm starstruck. Well, he's a black belt, I'm a blue belt, and whether he was going easy on me or not, I escaped his triangle 3 times, okay? And after escaping his triangle 3 times, and this is about a 15-minute fight, and finally Nate's getting a little bit more harder on me. I feel the pressure, like going, this little blue belt's like what the fuck? Like you try to escape, like fuck you. Like, so it's getting harder. So I end up being on side control, and Nate's on top, and I turn, and Nate turns, and we end up being in north-south position. And then in north-south, Nate puts pressure on my stomach, and I fart. I farted right on Nate's face when we were in north-south. Nate gets up and starts yelling, whoa, 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 whoa. And then the whole academy just stops. And like, they look at me, and I like sit up, and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna beat me out. Oh my God, I can't believe I just farted on Nate Diaz's face. Well, afterward, we finish the fight. He finishes me with a triangle, and then he puts his arm around me after the fight and says, you're gonna be my Asian triangle escaping farting master. And I'm just like, I don't like that nickname, but all right, I'll take it. And that's what it is. My first nickname.
We all have the shiny moment. Was this yours?
Yeah. That was my first time I ever met him. I mean, of course, I've seen him more often after that, and he's great. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, which is ironic because, like, his media what's the word I'm looking for? The portrayal versus actually meeting him. He is so nice. He is so respectful. He's so kind, and I just thought that was really funny from what it was. But so that was mine.
There is no secret that you've shared the mats with many big names, and some of them we've mentioned already. Many would consider this as you're one of the luckiest guys in the world, and this seems like a complete coincidence that you even end up in that situation. Do you find yourself like a lucky guy?
I don't think it's lucky. I guess you could say it's lucky. For me,
well, look, I'm even looking at. I was asking James the same question, similar question. I was like, look, you train with Rickson and Gracie. You many would not only pay millions of dollars, but they would they envy you for this. Like they don't have these opportunities. Maybe people don't. Maybe many people don't have opportunities to train. Period. And you train with the best of the best of the best. I mean, you're not far from this. You started in arguably the best place that at that time that existed. You know, Kron, Rickson, and you know, and the crew. And again, this was not like it was, hey, I'm going to go train with Kron and Rickson. No, you walked into the place not even knowing what this thing is, right?
That was pure luck. Yes.
So
yes.
Do you consider yourself a lucky cat?
When I walked in, 100% luck. And I'm very lucky for that. I guess the reason why I don't want to say that I'm lucky throughout is because that's also dedication. I mean, people walk into Crohn's all the time, and some people stay for a couple months and then they leave. And that's a very high percentage rate. And that's not just Crohn's, that's all gyms where they will go for a month or two and stop. Or even they'll do a blue belt and then they'll quit after that. And for me, is that luck now? I mean, I think that's more dedication now, where you put that time into it and you understand who you're learning from and you purposely chose to learn from that person. I could have easily left Crone after a year of being stupid and then like went to another gym not knowing anything, but that would have just been my stupidity, if that makes sense. When it comes to luck, for me finding Crone happened to be right in front of me. That's super luck. Oh my God, I'm so thankful for that. But after that, I believe that it's more passion that came in. Why I never stopped.
What is the one thing, but pinpoint one for me, that you walked away from those few years at the very beginning with Kron, James, Rickson, and everybody's there?
Well, I don't understand your question. What do you mean?
What's the biggest thing you learned? What's the biggest takeaway?
Small details. And what I mean by that is I go to other gyms to visit a lot, and 9 out of 10 gyms, they don't teach the small details and the small details that matter. And I that's, to me, it's one of the most important things. Like with the way you do a choke, I guess you can't really explain this, but if you do a rear naked choke and you just squeeze, right? Most people just squeeze. But if someone pulls your arm and they're pulling it towards you, you can't really squeeze, you're fighting that. But if you use your elbow to pull your elbow backwards, they can't stop your lat muscle from going, and you're choking them with your lat muscle instead of a squeezing pressure right there. And it's a small detail that they don't teach most gyms don't teach. And I don't mean just one move, I'm just talking about a lot in general, that like back to what I said, when you shrimp, a lot of gyms I've been to, they teach shrimping by raising your arms all the way up and then going down. And for me, that's just there. And these are black belts teaching this. Black belts teaching this.
Josh, let me ask you this then. You know, if so many teach it wrong, why nobody corrects them? Why do we find ourselves in this predicament?
I believe it's that domino effect that we talked about. If you have a bad teacher and you study under that bad teacher for 15 years and you became a black belt under that bad teacher, right? You learned bad techniques for 15 years. Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
And if you learn bad techniques for 15 years and you pass that on to your other students, it becomes this domino effect, versus if you learn from a really like Danaher, Rickson, I believe Lachlan Giles, Craig Jones, these people I believe, I study and follow them, they're great. And they go on to the small details with that. And those small details really, really matter. And there's also teachers that are out there that they have no more passion. They just do jiu-jitsu because it's a job and they stop learning. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Mm-hmm. I meet a lot of black belt teachers like that where it's just become a job for them. They have no more passion. So even though they have a black belt, their knowledge of black belt is 15 years ago black belt. It's not what it is today. Jiu-jitsu's evolved. It's completely evolved. There's so many moves that that you shouldn't do anymore, because if you do it at an advanced level, it'll be countered easy. And you'll put yourself in a disadvantaged situation, almost like a false positive. It's a positive, but it's a false positive, because people evolve that move to where now if you do that, you could do it 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but if you do it again today, it'll be countered and you will be in a disadvantaged position.
So do you feel that there should be some kind of check and balances in the in especially in the ranking system, that some of these, let's just say, low quality instructors should be questioned, or perhaps not even get to the black belt level?
I don't think I can't even imagine a way of how that will be implemented. Whether it should be or not should be, how would someone even implement that? Like, test the knowledge.
I don't know, but like, I'm visualizing that this is not much different than school systems, right? You have good teachers and bad teachers, but the difference is that, or even like good police officers and bad police officers, or whatever, good and bad plumbers, But oftentimes in these situations, there are certificates and other things and tests that these people have to go in on somewhat regular basis to keep kind of the standard where it needs to be, versus, and we don't have any of this. Matter of the fact, there is not one even, I don't want to call it test,
universal
test, but something to keep the guideline of this is what you need to know in order for you to enter the black belt, right?
Yeah. The only thing we have now is it's a belt checker where they check who promoted you, and
but even that is very vague and very non-permanent. Like there's tens of thousands of black belts today. I don't even know the number, and like half of them are not registered anywhere. The other half is giving under the table without, like, and again, to each their own. I'm not criticizing how ranking is being done. I'm simply raising a question. Should there be some kind of criteria for all of this to take place?
I don't want to say yes and no to that answer. I understand what you're trying to say. Obviously, yes, that there should be some kind of checker with that, but then at the same time, each to their own. For me, I believe that if you happen to learn under a bad teacher, well, that's you. For me, I want to promote myself, and what I mean by promote my brand, because I love teaching, and when I teach the small details, and that's me promoting, and I have that passion coming out. And when people take my classes, they see it, and whether they come and decide to stay in my classes or whether they decide to stay with their teacher, that's their choice with that. But that's same thing as restaurants. You can have terrible chefs, you can have great chefs, but there's no standard test of universal test of who's a good chef or who's not. What the test comes from is the restaurant, and is that restaurant good or not? Then people go, oh, that's an amazing restaurant, and everyone flocks to that restaurant. Oh, that's a crap restaurant, I'm never gonna go there, I got food poisoning there, right? So I guess in a sense that is its test itself. I mean, people will know eventually if this is a bad jiu-jitsu or good jiu-jitsu by A, tournaments, or B, they go out and know. But there are going to be those people that never go outside of their gym because of loyalty. There is also, I don't want to say it's like a cult kind of culture that exists. That exists a lot. And for those people, then it's really sad that exists, and you don't want to go out to try out the jiu-jitsu out there, and you're just stuck in one place because, oh my God, I've learned so much just from trying this gym, that gym, this gym, and then trying different techniques, going to different open mats, having people tap me different ways, and you open your eyes. What the hell did he do? What was that move? Oh my God, that was amazing. Like, what was his name? Another 10th planet dude. Anyways, he got me in a body triangle, and he did a twister on me from the body triangle. Does that make sense? So literally, he has my back with the body triangle, and he did a twister from that position. And I'm just like, huh? How do you do a twister from that position? And then I learned how to do it, and I learned how to counter to do it. And that came from an open man. Mike from 10th Planet Whittier. There we go. Hi, Mike. Thank you for doing that move on me. It was wonderful. And so, yeah.
So at which point, I mean, clearly there is a lot of passion behind everything you're doing. All these people have huge impact on where you going with your life, even today. I mean, you're switching from a culinary career to, or you were about to open up your own academy. Well, at which point the fascination with no-gi begins for you?
At blue belt. Actually, honestly, white belt, to be honest. So it started with blue belt because I'm 5'9", and a lot of the guys at Krohn's are big. Like they're like 6 foot, 6'2", 6'4". They're really strong. And for me, there's this guy named Alex Marchi, and I love you, Alex. You're amazing. He was the leg locker, right? And do you know who Kevin Casey is, UFC?
Of course.
Okay. He's one of Krohn's. He attends Krohn's belts, and I sparred with him one time, and he let me, as a white belt, I'm a white belt, he's a black belt, he let me armbar him. And I have 2 hands on his arms, ready to pull to try to break it. And his armbar defense was just curling his arm with one hand.
He's not a small guy either.
Okay, he is curling his hand with one hand, and I'm trying to break that armbar defense. I can't do it. And for me, that was the most demoralizing thing as a white belt. Like I was cussing to myself, how can like this armbar not work against someone that's really that strong? And then Alex is, and not with Kevin Casey, but Alex is like destroying everybody with foot locks, heel hooks, knee bars, toe holds, and my mind was. And from there, I started learning straight foot locks. As a blue belt, I learned everything. Alex personally worked with me at Krohn's. And Kron never really said I couldn't do it, but he never really, it was just one of the things he just allowed it on the side, because he doesn't really teach that stuff. He'll teach basic defense, but Alex taught me. And then from there, I found out that you can't heel hook in gi. And that's when my passion for no-gi came, because you can heel hook in no-gi. But even then, I still didn't go to Ten Planet because I was loyal to Kron, and I actually never left Kron's until Kron moved from Culver City to Montana because of COVID. And I'm in California. I'm not going to move to Montana. And I actually ended up going to this one place in Alhambra called Cosmic for a little bit. But then Alex Marchi told me one of the best leg lockers in all of West Side, California, is in Pasadena at the time. And his name is Eric Ramey, and he's one of the guys that actually brought the whole leg lock system into Ten Planet. He's a student of Danaher. Because at the time, don't quote me on this, I've heard this story from other people, so I could be wrong. But at the time, Eddie Bravo was into rubber guard. He wasn't too much into leg locks. And then when Eric Ramey came into Ten Planet, he's the one that brought the whole leg system into Ten Planet. So Eric decided to open a gym with Eric Capella. They did it as partners in Pasadena. And Alex told me about Ramey, so I went there one class. My mind was blown. My first class, and I'm a brown belt at the time. Oh my God, he is the guy that introduced me to, just because someone says it's not going to work doesn't mean it's not going to work. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I always thought that once a heel hook is locked in, I'm talking like really locked in, ready to break, you need to tap, and that's that, which is correct, right? But there is early, mid, and late stage defense. And I always knew just early and mid. And for me, there was never a late stage defense. Late stage was just tap. Eric Ramey taught me from ground up all of my leg locks, not just my leg locks, but a lot of fundamentals all over again. But more than just that, he opened my eyes to, I can start deconstructing techniques, and I could see flaws in techniques. And so when I started teaching, I started seeing a lot of flaws in certain moves, and that's when I started creating. And that creating became fun. And that's something I actually thank Eric Ramey for with that in Pasadena. So yeah. And actually that's the guy who I got my black belt under, Eric Ramey from Untitled Chapter. So yeah.
And we'll talk about that moment, because I know I
Sorry
know
about that.
that's all right. You're wanted. I know we'll
Anyways,
talk about the black belt in a moment, but I actually want to go back for a little bit. Kron moves. You are put in a position where you don't have a choice but to look for a different place, essentially. Is that difficult for you?
It was a journey. And so Kron, I think James talked about this, how there was a lot of super fans, for Kron, right? And then after Kron left, that it split. His gym actually split into two. One went to, there was Culver City, and then another went to Santa Monica, and then that gym split into two. And it was like, do I follow one gym? Do I not follow the other gym? Do I do? But then I was living really far away, so I just went to the gym that was closer to me. And that kind of it opened up my eyes to more of that, I don't want to say cult, but more of like the loyalty following. I guess that's the word, loyalty, And I feel more that I truly believe that if you love your teacher and everything's great, then be loyal. Everything's great. But also, I don't see anything wrong with going to another gym to try another open mat, to try different things, because you really need to open up your eyes with other people have different techniques. Other schools have different things, whether it's right or wrong. And it just, you expand yourself.
Why is this topic so complicated in jiu-jitsu? I mean, and you're not the first one to say this. Like, I've had these conversations with many, but like from one side, the loyalty factor is important to many, but from the other side, it is a service. This is not any different than a restaurant. You're paying for it. You taking the service, and technically, from one side, we want to have a culture of bond and relationships, and even that loyalty to some certain extent. But that can very easily convert into this, like, you are expected to be here and nowhere else, and that can be very toxic environment. I mean, I personally know environments where you are not allowed to talk to anybody, and that's mind-blowing to me. Like, what do you mean I cannot go? I'm paying you for the service and I cannot go somewhere? Like, why is this so freaking complicated in jiu-jitsu? Why can't we just freaking all get along?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can, and I don't know if I should say this live, but it's the truth, so I'm gonna say it. At Crohn's, I had to keep quiet about if I went to another gym, because I would get kicked out, according to other people. I had to keep quiet if I went to another open mat. And that sucked. That really, really, really sucked. But I still went to other open mats because it's fun. It's fun. I mean, like, I get to roll with other people and see different other styles. And I guess what I do want to say about that, though, too, is when I go to gyms and I see gyms that don't have open mats and they only stay at their own place, the one thing I notice about that gym is they are stuck. And what I mean by stuck is they don't evolve. Does that make sense or not? But then other gyms that are open, that go out and try different things, I see evolution there. I totally see evolution there, where people do different things, they try different techniques and make sure they understand the counters. And granted, not everything works, but then at least they're exploring different situations to do it, versus other schools that they don't even know how to do a heel hook, because they're just so gear oriented and they have no idea how to do it. They have no idea how to do a knee bar defense. They have no idea how to do a toe hold defense, because they don't teach it. Most gi schools don't teach anything with legs. They'll teach a straight foot lock, a defense, the basic straight foot lock, basic defense, basic knee bar, basic toe hold, and that's it. And those schools that are stuck with it, like, I still see videos online today where black belts are teaching moves that you should not do with leg locks, because if you do those defenses with leg lock, that just leads into a straight counter where I'm just going to break your foot because you did that move. If I explain that correctly,
absolutely.
right? And that is a move that you would do 15, 20 years ago, but you wouldn't want to do that today. And that's what I mean by if you don't go out and try different things, you're going to be stuck. And whether it's right, whether it's wrong, it's not my place to judge. What matters to me is me. What matters to me is how I teach. What matters to me is how my students are going to be and how I want to elevate them to be way better than me. I want them to learn more moves. I want them to be the best. And for me, if they happen to go to another gym to learn that, then that's okay because of the fact that I'm not perfect. There's going to be better teachers out there. If they happen to go to Danaher, oh my God, go, have fun. I support you all the way. Tell me about all the techniques that you learned. I would love to hear if I ever get to, experience that. I just think it's a personal, what's the word? Personal, not belief, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a personal choice, I guess, that everyone has, and it's not my place to judge them or not. But if that's you, that's you. I'm gonna evolve. Good luck on you. And
Yeah. And I think that's the important part to acknowledge, that we can control ourselves. We can't control what other people do. And
yeah,
what they choose, it hopefully works out for them. And that's the end of the day, right?
yeah.
So as all of this continues, you get your black belt. Let's talk about that. Many consider that day, important day in their life. Many consider this a big pivot point, big milestone. How did you feel about it?
It's actually a really funny story that day. I played this game called Clash of Clans. It's this phone game.
And
I
remember.
It's this clan game. And there was this clan war. It was at the beginning of the month, and I happened to miss my attack because I got my black belt that day. And then I logged in and I apologized to my clan. And look, guys, I'm so sorry that I missed the attack. I got my black belt. I was super excited. And I got my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And one of my team members says, congratulations, I'm a 5th degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu too. And I'm like, huh? A 5th degree black belt? Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Keith Florian, Kenny Florian's brother.
Well, there you go.
Out of the entire world that happens to be my team member on Clash of Clans, Keith Florian is my team member. And it's so funny because when I went out to go shoot my videos with Bernardo Faria for the videos for his YouTube thing, I actually ended up going to Boston to visit Keith. And it's like, dude, I have never met anybody from an online video game, but I got to meet you, high five, and we got to roll. And I thought that was really cool. So that was my first day of getting the black belt, discovering that my team member is Keith Florian. Then the actual day itself, it was, how do I put it? I finally achieved my goal.
Was that a goal?
I finally got
Was that a goal from the beginning for you?
No, it was more yes and no. When I was a white, blue, purple, even brown, at a point in brown belt, I wanted to be the black belt. I wanted the black belt. But then after Eric Ramey started teaching me more about the evolution of jiu-jitsu, that became more of a priority for me, right? And when that became more of a priority for me, actually that's when he gave me the black belt, Eric Ramey. Which is funny. When I actually stopped caring about it, I started doing it, that's when I got the black belt. And I guess the only thing that I can say that I'm really proud about being a black belt, I don't know, maybe this is a pride thing. I think it is a pride thing, actually. You know what? It is a pride thing. When people ask me, what belt are you? I'm very proud to say I'm a black belt. Versus when people ask me when I was a blue belt, what belt are you? I'm a blue belt. I'm a purple belt. People that don't do jiu-jitsu, they're like, oh, okay, you're just a blue belt. You're just, and they have no idea what a blue belt is. They have no idea what a brown belt is. They have no idea what a purple belt is. So when you get that judgment, it kind of like, it sucks. It really does suck. So that hearing me being the same with black belt, yes, I'm very proud to see it. I'm very proud because I worked my ass off for it. But the actual, does it matter? I agree with James just on this 100%. He brought up on this show that you need to be promoted when you actually deserve it. Because, well, let's say you go to another school and you can't even own your belt. That's so embarrassing. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I've been to other schools as a purple belt where I tapped all the black belts consistently and they couldn't even tap me. And as a purple belt, I was so proud that I learned from Kron Gracie that I was able to tap all these black belts purple when they couldn't tap me. And so that made me feel like, oh, when I become a black belt, I hope that I can own my belt, if that makes sense. I hope that I can hold
Represented.
represented. Yes, exactly. And I agree with James on that 100%. But actually, for me getting the black belt, it's the only thing wonderful about it is people ask me about it. I'm proud to say I'm a black belt. Besides that,
I feel like there's almost like maybe contradiction is not the word that I'm using here, but from one side I feel like you don't care that black belt came along, but from the other side you're very proud of it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
so there's two points for it. May I? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
there
go ahead.
is the non-jiu-jitsu side where people don't know, right, what it is. And if I get to say, I'm proud to be that black belt. From the jiu-jitsu aspect, what's more important to me is technique now. What's more important to me is fine-tuning now. That's what's more important. Black belt isn't the end of my journey. It's not. Oh my God, there's so many more moves I'm trying to learn right now, to perfect right now, to try different things right now. And it's still starting right now. I don't know if I explained that correctly, but so when I say that I couldn't care about the black belt, I'm talking from a jiu-jitsu point of view, where it's not the end of my journey. The black belt isn't the end goal. It's just the start goal for me. But where I'm proud is when people that don't know what jiu-jitsu is and they ask, oh, what belt are you? Oh, I'm black. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I get to finally say I'm black now. And I'm proud. And I don't care if people judge me on that. I'm very, very proud that I worked my ass off for that. And
well, good for you. Good for you. There's no question that's a huge, huge accomplishment from effort perspective, but just as a milestone in life, I think that's very something to celebrate. Do you find it a little ironic, the fact that when we are in the earlier stages, we chase that black belt, but when we get to it, it just becomes, I wouldn't say a secondary thing, but we focus more on what we do and how we do it versus the rank that we wear.
Isn't that everybody though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think many find themselves in that predicament. I know that's how it was for me. I mean, when I was a blue belt, I was like freaking chasing those stripes and belts. I was nuts. I was crazy. And then the closer I got to the black belt, less I start caring. I was like, I don't care. But the fact, like I remember sitting at home and feeling is like, I don't know if I want this. Like I was a purple belt, and I was like, I'm perfectly content being purple. I don't know if I want to move up. Like I'm really good here. I'm good. Yeah.
Could you repeat your question again? The actual.
Well, do you find it ironic that we chase it at the beginning? It's like the shiny object. It's almost a goal, and closer we get to it, we kind of shift away from that mentality.
I think that's human nature. And not just jiu-jitsu, but even like for me, my experience in a chef, you start from the bottom. Don't you want to be to the top? Everybody wants to be to the top, but then once you're at the top, okay, well, I want to be more. It doesn't matter as much. A perfect example is, I switched careers from a chef doing sushi chef for 10 years. I went into sales in women's clothing. I sold wholesale women's clothing for 5 years, and they put me at the bottom where I was a packer. I had to pack stuff, and then after 6 months of doing that, I became an assistant to every single department. Then after that, I became the VP's assistant, and then they put me in sales and said that you have to open an account within 3 months or you're fired. I was hungry because my VP was making $50,000 a month in sales. $50,000 a month in sales. And so for me, that was my black belt. I really wanted to hit that black belt. And I gave myself 5 years to do that. And thank God I succeeded. But for me, I had to climb to that goal. But once I succeeded to that goal, I quit. I quit to open my own restaurants to pursue some other stuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that just because I really wanted that goal, everybody strives to hit that goal. But then once you hit that goal, a lot of people they want more. They want something else. It's not as important to them once they get closer to it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. And I truly believe
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I actually agree with you 100% on all of this. I mean, I very much so share the same philosophy. Do you think that's the reason why some black belts lose the passion that you described just 10 minutes ago or so, where it becomes a job because they have, quote unquote, achieved certain level of what they expected of themselves?
I could see that. I could see that completely. I think there's a lot of different reasons why people can lose that passion. It could be a money factor. It could be, um, I'm tired of doing this over and over and over again. It could be they already achieved it. It could be their life's miserable. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, different factors that can happen. I believe what you just said could be one of the reasons why. But I think that just goes down to the person in general. For me, that's actually something I'm genuinely and really genuinely concerned about, because I am about to open the first 10th planet in Hawaii. And I've owned 2 restaurants. I've been a business owner. I get it. I know how to do it. But I got burned out owning a couple restaurants. I was tired. And I'm worried that am I going to be burned out doing jiu-jitsu? Am I going to be, as a business owner for a jiu-jitsu school, am I going to fall into that category of, oh, this is just a job? So I gave myself some goals to do, not just be a business owner. Right now, I want to create this brand of a webpage that I want to do. I want to have more BJJ Fanatics videos that I want to create. And I'm actively pursuing it. And on top of actually being a business owner with the gym. And I'm hoping that with those passion and projects, I won't just be stagnant. But again, I'm genuinely concerned that might happen to me 3 years from now, 5 years from now. What if my 10th planet is not successful, right? What if I only have 40 students, 30 students, signed up? And that'll be very depressing. Very depressing. What if I have to give it up? And then what if I don't feel like doing jiu-jitsu anymore after that? So, and this is my passion. Like, I don't know if you can hear me talk, but when I talk about jiu-jitsu, I love jiu-jitsu. And it's my passion. And so people talk about you should always do what your passion is, and I'm going to pursue it. But I'm also worried about, will I be burned out? And
well, but let me ask you this. Wouldn't that worry, that having that on the forefront of your mind, kept you actually motivated and disciplined for it not to happen?
Haven't been there yet. I'm hoping that that'll be it. I'm hoping. I'm really genuinely hoping. But just because you plan something doesn't mean it's always going to work out that way. But, I hope so. But I am the type of person that thinks about it a lot.
I think you will do just fine. I think you will do just fine. And even just listening from your life story, the fact of having the ability to pivot, having the ability to step back and make decisions, and really, setting, even like now, like I'm listening to you, and you said this is what I want to do, and I set myself some goals, and I'm really conscious of what I'm trying to achieve and how I'm going about it. That's more than 95% people in this population. I mean, how many people just think about it, how many people do you know, they go to work brainlessly, do their job, come back home, do nothing else, and go back, do the same thing over again. And after a decade or two, they ask themselves, how come I haven't achieved anything in my life?
We actually just talked about that with my friend today. It's so funny you brought what you just said right now. I had a conversation 12 hours ago about that today. That is so funny.
But isn't it true?
It's 1,000% true. And he was actually trying to say that, people are hungry and they want to improve their lives. And I totally disagreed with him. And I was just like, no, they're not. Most people will just go about their day, work if they have a job, and come home. They won't try to actively do amazing at their job to advance their
Yeah.
career, and they'll just be content with where they are and then complain about it later. That's most people. Or there's going to be other people who I came from LA, and LA is terrible right now. It's terrible. There's so many people that just steal, and LA has a zero bail policy where you can steal under $900 and consistently steal. Or at the time, I think it changed just recently, but before it changed, it didn't stack. So people would steal 500, 500, 700, 700, 700, and it wouldn't stack. And they would go to jail, come out the same day. Officers wouldn't even arrest them. So people would rather just steal, not go to work, and live off of food stamps. And LA is just terrible right now. And that's one of the reasons why I left LA. But that's where it goes into what we're talking about earlier. How many people actually have the will to take that first step? Like even you, this podcast, I'm sure your first episode, the beginning, wasn't easy. I'm sure that you had to take that first step.
It sucked.
Right? You had to take that first
Don't listen
step,
to
it. But like, and then not only that, like your first 10 episodes, you don't even have a photo of the
No.
people, and then you started changing it.
Yeah.
And I saw you could see your evolution of how you're growing with that. But for you, you had to take that first step. Does that make sense? And
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Here's my theory on this. Let me run this by you, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this. I feel like we live in a society of dreamers. Everybody wants something, but nobody is willing to think what it will take to get to it. Everybody lives in a fantasy. Whether that's Instagram scrolling or YouTube or what the other things, or this person is making $10 million, I can do it too. No, you can't. No, you can't. Like, let's be realistic. No, you can't. Unless you sit down, develop a plan, and start doing it. You're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to do it for you, especially that today's society is so self-driven. Everybody's all about me, 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 me. No, like people helping each other is so difficult these days. And I feel like even finding a good team, a solid, trusted team is not easy these days.
Yeah.
And I think all this contributes to this bubble that we live in.
You know what the more scarier part is though? Imagine that bubble that we're living in right now, but now we're adding in AI.
Oh, I know.
How many jobs are it's going to replace? Now all of those people are going to be displaced. These dreamers that aren't actively pursuing and they're just content where they are, a lot of it's going to get replaced. And so it's kind of scary what's going to happen in the future, what jobs. I just recently read on the news, there was a computer programmer. He made $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year. Now he's working DoorDash because he can't find a job because AI is taking over.
Oh, yeah.
And that is scary. This was a safe industry.
Yeah, I have my own theories about all of this. I mean, the jobs will get replaced. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I cannot tell future. I don't know what this is going to look like. Maybe this is a good thing and we are just naive about it. I don't know. But I do think, basic medicine is going to get replaced. Education, I think, is going to get replaced. All these things, they are repetitive. They're going to be fully automated. And it's, and I think people are going to get even more out of shape because they don't have to do anything. They don't have to go to the store. They don't have to, like, this is already happening. Right. I think there are some hardship ahead of us as a society, and all of this is, I think look, now we are deviating into crap topic, but even look at like social media. 10 years ago or 15 years ago when it was starting, everybody was wild about it, and now it's all number one reason for depression. I mean, it's like these technology points are good if they are used in the right scenarios. But the balance is the key, and I don't think we have a balance right now. I don't think we have balance, and I think this is why jiu-jitsu is so important. The human connection, the community, the physicality of it, solving problems, using our mind. I mean,
I agree with you 100%. Everything that you just said, it's so important, the physicality, and AI can't even replace that. How are you going to replace two people fighting, learning a technique with that? That's not something that these are invisible techniques too. Like they're literally invisible techniques. You
gotta
can't, you
feel
gotta
it.
actually, yeah, you gotta feel it.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to what we said. You gotta take that first step. You have to take that first step and make that plan, pursue it. And if you do that, then I think you're on the right track. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to succeed, but it's better than doing nothing. And so, yeah.
Before we start wrapping this up,
Can I make one?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What was your question?
How excited are you about opening first 10 Planet in Hawaii?
So that's a great question because it was going to tie into what I just said. I am going to be an affiliate with Scott Epstein. Yeah. So even though I got my black belt under Eric Ramey, I taught at Scott Epstein's school for 2 years. Scott, I love him like a brother. He is, everyone talks shit about how he's just a shit talker, right? But he is the most loyal, straightforward, will tell it to you how it is to your face, and loyal. That's the key. It is so hard to find loyal people. Like, you know what I mean by that, right? Like people that they'll talk shit to your face, not behind your back, but they'll still be loyal friend with that. So when
I had Scott on the show.
I actually was listening to half of it. You're talking about the drums and
So if you guys want to tune into Scott's, it's 194, episode 194. But go ahead.
So, what was I saying? Oh, so the story with Hawaii is the way Eddie works is Eddie Bravo. He lets you reserve a city, and once you reserve that city as one of his black belts, it's yours, and you have an undisclosed amount of time to open it. So there was this person, I don't know, I think it was a girl, and I don't know her name. She's from San Diego. She opened up, she reserved Hawaii, and that's why no one opened up Hawaii, and to this day. And so I was like talking to Scott. I was like, Scott, please talk to Eddie for me, please. Like, I'm ready to open, and I have it. And so apparently Scott talked to Eddie for me, and then Eddie's like, yeah, go ahead. You got it. So I'm going to be opening up a 10th Planet in Honolulu. And right now, actually, while I was waiting for this, I was just looking at more places. I'm waiting for my realtor to finalize the final location. By the way, finding a location in Hawaii is effing hard. Really, really, really hard. It's not like, oh my God. Anyway, so hopefully that'll work out soon. But we're going to be an affiliate from 10th Planet West LA to Scott Epstein. By the way, you got to check out his merchandise. He has so many cool rash guards, like Bruce Lee rash guards, like butterfly rash guards, just really cool rash guards. And so we're going to be doing that. So hopefully Scott will come out and teach and do that with that. As to going back to your question, how am I looking forward to it?
Are you excited?
So 10th Hawaii focus is really big on jiu-jitsu. Yes. And did you know that predominantly though, 99% of jiu-jitsu in Hawaii is gi?
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that. It's
gi. And at these gi schools, they do a couple days no gi, but it's still gi, no gi, gi, no gi. There isn't a school, from my understanding, maybe there might be one, that's all no gi. And for me, the 10th Planet coming in, I'm really looking forward to showing my heel hooks, showing my leg locks, showing my toe folds, showing my like, just not just the legs, but these small details. Because I'm coming from a background not just of 10th Planet. I'm coming from a background of Kron Gracie, Rickson Gracie. That's my original, foundation. And then Eric Ramey and Scott Epstein, they installed 10th Planet into me. And so I have both backgrounds, which I just feel so blessed. That's something I feel very blessed to have. And then my creation of creating different moves. So, yeah.
So over your lifetime, you have owned many businesses. You've started them, you sold them, you moved on, you shifted away, you started different jobs. You talked about sales in the clothing business.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of different areas that you touched and dip your toes in.
Hmm.
Is this the most exciting point of your life, opening a new
Absolutely.
academy?
Absolutely. This is the first time I'm doing something I love. I'm not chasing the money in sales. I'm not chasing, the reputation in my restaurant for people love my food, love my food. That was just something that I was good at. Being a good chef was something I'm good at, right? But jujitsu is my passion. My When I talk about it, it's my passion. And this is the first time I'm opening a business where I'm so passionate about. And I hope that my students in Hawaii will feel and learn and get even better than me and just improve and just kick everybody's butts and all, whether it's an open mat competition, and they're just proud to have a good teacher that taught them traditional foundation, but also evolution and all of that together. And I don't plan on stopping learning. I'm still learning right now. So I'm kind of embarrassed, but my BJJ Fanatics account, I think I have like 120 videos, and it's crazy because I always buy the 50% off and then add another 50% off. And so I get you know what I mean? Right?
That's how they get you. That's how they
Yeah.
get you. I talked to Bernardo about this. That's how they get you. They have a perfect
Yes.
machine.
Yeah. It totally gets me. So I always check the deals and add that extra for another 50. And now, like years later, by the way, I think I'm black belt status, brown or black, because it goes back and forth. But on BJJ Fanatics, and I'm like, but I have those videos because I want to learn, and it's cool. You want to learn different techniques, and yeah. So.
Good for you. Good for you. I think there is no secret. Look, listening to you and having this conversation, it's pretty obvious that there is a tremendous amount of passion behind
Thank you.
just life in general, but jiu-jitsu especially. And I'm really excited to see what you're going to do and how this is going to work out, not only from your experience in business in general with business, but also the passion that you have for jiu-jitsu, between the styles from Kron and Rickson to 10th Planet and going through Scott's evolution of your jiu-jitsu. So all of this just creates a very interesting environment. And I think you
Thank
have a
you.
unique opportunity that not many do. And before we wrap this, what would happen if you walked out of Kron's gym after you passed out? Have you ever thought about that? What would
You asked
happen
the
if
same
that
question to
day,
James.
what would happen if that day you would say, screw this nonsense. This is stupid. I'm out of here.
You know what jiu-jitsu does for me, and I believe it'll do it for a lot of people that have the bug. And what I mean by the bug, people that are addicted to jiu-jitsu, life is you have work, then you have family, right? But then for me, those are just two opposite things. I truly believe you need an extra element in that. And for me, that extra element is jujitsu. That's my release. And most people don't have that release. Most people have work and home, work and home, work and home. Maybe they'll go to a gym, but that's not necessarily a release of their passion. That's just them working out to be consistent, unless if you really love doing the gym. And for me, jujitsu was and is my release, passion, my love. And so even my wife, she absolutely loves me going to jiu-jitsu, because when I come home after jiu-jitsu, I'm like biggest smile on my face, even though I got beat up, and I released all my stress from that day. I don't need the alcohol. I'm good. And if I don't have jiu-jitsu, if I walked out of Kron that day, I think I'd be pretty depressed, genuinely, because I would still be working. Maybe if I found another hobby, I might find another hobby, but I've tried other hobbies. I play musical instruments. I do other hobbies, but nothing has sparked my interest like jujitsu. And that's something that I'm so thankful for, that I actually took that job in front of Rickson and Gracie's, and I just happened to walk in and just happened to meet James Driscoll. James just happened to tell me it was 225, and I looked at him and it was crazy. Like, what? And then he's like, it's first class free. And then I just happened to get choked out, and I loved it, being in another guy's missionary position, right? And and it's just like, you know what? Screw it. It's the most coolest thing in the world. It's so cool. I could beat up a 6'5" guy that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, way stronger than me, and I know I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay, no matter what. And that is just something that you can't. What's the word? That confidence of knowing that you'll be okay. Not the fact that I can beat him up, but just the confidence of that I can take care of myself is something that it's irreplaceable. And that's something that any child, any adult should learn jiu-jitsu, because you can't, how do you say, you can't buy that. And what I mean by buy that, I can't spend money to buy that confidence. Yes, you have to buy it for jiu-jitsu, but you have to put your time and effort to learn it, right? And that's something that jiu-jitsu brought to me, that confidence. And
there's this phrase of people come into jiu-jitsu with a smile on their face, they get choked out, they leave with a smile on their face, and they pay for all of it. I feel like you are the true definition of that phrase.
Yeah, literally. Oh, by the way, that actually, I have in my second video one of the best rear naked choke escapes, right? And I'm saying this because for me to practice and learning how to escape rear naked chokes, you know how many times I got choked out? Thousands of times I got choked out. And I did it with a smile on my face and loved it. And so, yeah.
What an amazing life. Joshua, as we've been at this nearly hour and a half.
Oh my God.
Slowly, as we're going to start wrapping this up, if anybody wants to connect with you, look, this is a great story, great life. Did you lose your headphones?
Yeah, I did.
Great life, amazing story. If anybody wants to connect with you or perhaps follow you for the sake of what is happening in Hawaii, where are you available? Are any websites available yet? Or are you still working on the social media? Share some of this stuff.
So right now, the best way to contact me is on Instagram, chef, chef, .bjj, because I'm a chef and I love BJJ. Chef, .bjj. Follow me there. You can Instagram me, you can message me there. I do have other stuff coming out, but for now, that's the main one. There's a lot of instructionals on that webpage, a lot. I hope you enjoy those instructionals and have fun with it.
I will make sure, as always, that I will include all the links in the show notes of this episode so you guys can go follow Joshua directly and see how his new place is going to start unfolding in the very near future, and all the instructionals with the enormous amount of detail that he puts in them. I mean, I encourage you to dip into that and then reach out to him if, you want to connect with him a little bit more directly. Joshua, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, but more importantly, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your life story, because I think many of us have great life stories, but we don't share them. We keep them very private, and today you were more than open, and I love it. This was one of the most fun episodes I've had in a while, so I truly appreciate it. You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about any trash stories about James. You didn't tell me any dirt on James. But that gives us a reason to do this again.
Oh yeah. James is. I will leave it there. We'll do it again.
Sounds good. Josh,
thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. It was wonderful talking with you too.
Let's wrap this up for today.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.